Okay,
Sorry about that, guys.
no, it's all good. I should have
all right.
waited. My apologies.
Oh, you guys snuck in here.
Let's see, do we have any announcements from anybody?
I think I'll do it on item E.
Okay. Fair enough. We'll table Jeff's announcement until item E.
And
Go ahead, sir.
then C.
Okay. And then do we have any comments, questions from the community audience members?
Not yet.
All right, fair enough.
What's your name? Lee Whaley. WHALEY. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Do we have consensus on the October 3rd, 2024 minutes? Any changes, recommendations, dissent? I'll take silence as consensus. Moving on, do we have consensus on the agenda as written? Any changes?
I think item E is discuss and determine criteria for skate park and pump track locations.
Okay,
It's gonna be I think, controversial topic.
I like this type of controversy.
Yeah, we work through those, right?
Right. Okay, well, it seems like if that's the only change, anyone not, in agreement with that?
The only thing I would, elaborate on is discuss and, approve, like consensus, not determined, but, a consensus of where this committee actually would like the skate park.
Great consensus.
Yeah, cause it's not really our final decision anyway.
For recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so you're just stating that we're gonna make a recommendation, our committee's gonna make a recommendation on.
Yeah.
Location based on criteria and other community factors.
Right.
Okay.
all right, good enough for me. Then, with everyone okay with that? Take everyone's silence as yes. Moving on to item A, status reports on prior action items. Come on in, sir.
Sorry. Status reports on prior actions, still haven't made any progress with, getting the survey stuff taken care of with, the surveyor for the, getting the paperwork for the easements to submit to the resort. I'm probably gonna meet with Shay after the meeting to see about, if we could, fund that with the Trails and Rec Committee monies that's available. I think there's, approval from the village to be able to do that, to get that rolling. And hopefully that process will be, expedited just because the easement's already there.
Makes sense. Excellent. I did email the checklist. I remembered this time. It's in a numbers format, so anyone can access it, changes, et cetera, et cetera.
And working to resolve email issues, I didn't see that. Speaking of, email, the fill the form. Apparently, Microsoft Groups has some serious issues going on. So it's not just my group thing, but the whole system is screwed up and their IT people are working on it. So I keep emailing, trying to figure that out. I am now getting emails from you though, so.
Did you get the ones I sent this morning?
Yes, I did.
I did,
Yeah,
but Tiller, he wasn't getting, it probably didn't come through.
came through both of them today.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, yeah, so I got both, that was a good test on that, so, we'll keep after it and make sure we're sharing stuff, so. I think the group thing is still working because you sent it to the group and,
I sent it to the group, which your MSN would have
Yeah.
been on the group, and then I
Right.
separately sent it to
Yeah.
your Gmail.
so I got it both ways, so it is coming
So
through.
maybe it sounds like it's maybe self-resolving. potentially.
Okay. I'm next on the list of proposal. We'll talk about the proposal card about how to move forward on our goals and objectives. We'll cover that here in a second. That's mostly on something on our agenda today. It's item C. And then also Lauren Bell, he finally got back to me. He was available yesterday afternoon and this morning to talk. So we'll continue that conversation.
Anything else? So kind of the big stuff, right?
Yeah, you were gonna check with, Mayor Lindsay to see if they can have a regional meeting of mayors. Then if they did, still had the, meeting with the other mayors, that then he could inquire if those communities participate in funding ACTA.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do that.
Is there such a thing, or we're just asking if there
Yeah,
is?
well, somebody said they thought they.
There used to be one.
But we don't know if it still does.
And with the kind of circle cities.
Yeah, they used to meet, the mayors used to meet, I guess. We don't know if that still happens or
Yeah.
not, but if it does,
It'd be a good idea to get
it would be a good opportunity for him to maybe
see if Acton is
see
involved in
if,
their paying them.
yeah, see if they're.
I'll even ask Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't strike me as a Goldberg, it's. Yeah, they're not that.
Yeah, they're doing the trail from Red River to Buckeye.
Yeah, so I'm sure they're heading.
Sure, yeah, and they got that nice map that put up down there.
Yeah. I know. Help the moment.
Okay, then I think we can move on to item B, review status of the next steps regarding potential contract with ECTA, including arrangement of in-person meeting. Lauren Bell, I know Jill was just, speaking about that.
Yeah, so I did reach out to him and, first told him actually about a month ago, he asked me if I would serve on his board. And I just said, no, I don't have time right now. I might do that after I finish the comp plan work. But also said we had interested conversation with him regarding, facilitating some community workshops on, trail plan. Also Frank Young extension as a contract and also the idea for kiosks. And, so he's interested in those conversations. So I'm gonna follow up with him probably today when I get back home and see if we can get him to the next meeting. Or within the next couple of weeks to see where that goes.
Okay,
So not much to report just yet on that. I guess I learned though, he does have a volunteer coordinator now, though. I didn't, like John told me that he has.
Yeah, Courtney Errol, I think her last name's pronounced. She now supports the Adopt a Trail program.
It's not completely volunteer, is it? Then she pays.
I think it's partly, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
probably underpaid.
Yeah, definitely underpaid.
I mean, she actually went from the Forest Service to Acton, so maybe that's a bump in pay.
It's hard to say sometimes. All right, thanks, sir.
Well, what I read in High Country News, the regional newspaper, Forest Services, budget's been hacked and they're not gonna hire any seasonals next summer. 0.
Oh, Lord.
Agency wide.
That's great.
Yeah, so. It's gonna be a rough year, so maybe people are seeing the.
Writing on the wall.
Notes on the wall.
All right, then, sir, we'll move on to item C. We'll spend a little bit of time on this one, so. Begin to develop our issues, challenges, and opportunities for the Rec and Trails Committee. To include, for the eventual inclusion into the village comprehensive plan. If I remember correctly from last meeting, we want to try to, with this brainstorming session, just identify what our problems are, right? It's it's not so much trying to like create the groups of them, but just list out like,
Yeah,
what are the
there's-
challenges, what are the opportunities, et
Yeah,
cetera, et
there's
cetera.
4 parts of this, and we actually, the comprehensive committee met yesterday afternoon and kind of went through this. And maybe all the committees will adopt kind of a similar process, but, what the comprehensive plan committee is asking of all the working committees and others, such as the library and others that may not have a representative committee, is a pretty thorough understanding of the existing conditions. So whether that's workforce housing or water issues or sewer issues or recreation issues, what are the existing? We can't really make good decisions to know what the baseline is. And so I'm gonna move this podium out of the way because his head's already big and I can hear it trying to reach around. Do this yesterday too. Is that tied down? So, the first part of existing conditions, and that's, looking back at, for us, it's where we're at, what do we have as far as village trails? The inventory, the conditions, condition assessment would fit into that, where we're at on that, safety issues, existing conditions. So we want to capture those. That's the first part of this thing. And a deliverable will be a succinct description of the existing conditions. And a bulleted list is fine. So we're not looking at major narrative and flowery papers about existing conditions, but just Frank Young Trail, it's this long, this wide, here are the conditions. Here are the users, if we have any user data.
Would that also include the recreational facilities?
It would, right. So we'll link both of those. So we should be considering in this like staffing, the budget, is the budget sufficient or insufficient? What does it need? Inventory of amenities and condition assessments. And then I suggested the process was a brainstorming exercise and discussion. So I think we could collect those ideas on a whiteboard or flip chart, or even go, we're going back to the 2006 plan, the 2018 priority document, anything else, to figure out what our existing conditions are. And we also might want to think about outreach, and I'm pretty high on this outreach piece, so I'll bring that into the next part more. So we have until November 15th in this time frame. I kind of played with, and we played with yesterday, is we want a pretty good handle on existing conditions within a month. So we can all take a part of that and go through these different documents. And Chris has some institutional documents of this stuff, and he shared a lot of those things. So it's really digging through that to find our existing conditions. Where are we at? What do we have in the village as far as recreation amenities? And I think for recreation, that could also take into programming. So what we're seeing happen with the programming at the community center, I think those things that are going on would also apply to this existing condition list. The second section of this thing is where we're going to generate a list of issues, challenges, and opportunities facing us for recreation and trails. And I put opportunities in there because we can be looking forward, not only solving an existing problem, but looking what we can improve. So for example, a couple times this idea of having regional cross-country meets, running meets has surfaced. That's a way to get heads and beds in town if you did a regional. So that's an opportunity. So that's more of a programming promotion issue, and how do you design for that? And the same with adaptive trail adventures. If we marketed for adaptive trail, that's an opportunity to think about how we change that. So opportunities fits in here. Also things like music and Angel Fire, all about opportunities. The art program is all about opportunities. But this is the one that I think we need other feedback. So how do we get feedback from, we started a group up with this, like with the realtors, what do they hear from clients as far as opportunities or challenges or issues with recreation and trails? Do we talk to the high school honor society? Or another class, maybe the civics class, and go talk to that. What do you see as trails opportunities or recreation opportunities or challenges? The trackers, of course, is an easy one to get information from. potentially Rotary. So what are some other ways we can outreach for this? And we're also thinking about this as a whole, for the whole comprehensive plan process of how do we get some better community feedback? Because yes, we have 60 people involved in committees, which is pretty good. So that's 5% of the total population of this town, the permanent population, but we can do better than that with people here are vacationers and part-timers. So that second part is we have 2 months to finish that to January 15th, and recognizing there's a lot of holiday time in there and people are traveling all over the place. So that's a concise description of issues, challenges, and opportunities that inform our goals development. And then the third part of this is actually taking all those issues, challenges, and opportunities and transferring those into goal statements. And I proposed the SMART goal statement worksheet. And the SMART process says that your goal should be specific. So what do you want to accomplish? It needs to be included. They should be measurable. So we're going to increase, trails by 10% or increase water savings by 10%, whatever it is. They should be achievable, which is key because we have to take into account staff capacity and probably fiscal capacity of the village. So we can't be thinking it's so broad out the world that's never going to happen. So what's realistic and achievable, and it's relevant. So the goals are based on the issues we've heard, and that's why they become relevant, and they're time bound. Is it realistic that we've done it in 5 years or 10 years? So that's a SMART worksheet. So we think through these goals, we want to go that route because it's easy for Council on Weeks to go back and look at this and say, well, here's the goal that we established. We can see we've made measurable progress toward this, and we're 90% done based on how the goal is written. So that's important to have these kind of measurements, a SMART goal set up on their goal worksheet. And we have until basically the middle of February, at the end of February, to develop the goal statements. And then within that, the next part is the actions. What are the actions that we need to get done to get the goals? And then that's what we want to end up with in March, is here are the key actions for each one of the goals. So we can spend a little time at each one of our meetings tackling a little of this as we also look at other projects and processes we go through this. So this was adopted by the comp plan committee yesterday. On October 29th, there's a council work session, which all the committee chairs or committee representatives also asked to participate. We'll go back over this. We have templates for the groups to work on, pretty much so everyone's in line. The idea is that when we pull this comp plan together, it's stuff we're all working on. Every committee's already making progress on this. It's trying to put it in some sort of a logical format that anyone can follow and pick up on. So questions on that process or timeline so far?
Well, and I think that, the end game of all that is so we're all these different committees are working towards, the same, they're not, like two committees aren't overlapping the same projects and they're all just, utilizing the
Not fighting
resources.
each other.
Yeah, so that,
Yeah, to build on that, I think there's gonna be, I think a lot of goals will complement each other. So goals that, for example, deal with streets and sediment and manage of culverts and bar ditches complements anything the Wetlands Committee is doing, for example. And goals that we have regarding sidewalks and street crossings and pedestrian crossing aligns with what streets and infrastructure might be doing. So there should be some complement. I think that's where the committee chairs will be looking at all this stuff and seeing how things overlap and fit together better for the village. And, pursuing a trails goal might help streets project or vice versa. So that's what we want to be thinking about, that sort of thing. So questions on that process?
On the timelines that on your sheet you did.
Yeah,
They're
we've
a little
changed it a little
different.
bit. It does
Okay.
change a little bit. So I think we
The
modified
ones
it a
you
little bit.
gave or
Yeah, it'll be revised next week again.
Okay.
So
so I think what you're saying, the first step, we've got till November
15th, and then we've got the November 15th to January 15th, January 15th through February 28th. And then February 28th through March 30th for the recommended actions. So on the community engagement side of things, I proposed, I guess that we have a new marketing contract in the village and Santos, our planning guy, thinks that marketing firm might be able to help us with outreach strategies. So maybe when we've got the draft goals from all the committees, we can either create a community conversation newsletter that's maybe printed in Transworld News or some other way, QR code based, and get people the feedback, feedback loop on, let's assure that what we're saying makes sense and people buy into it. I hate to have us go forward and someone blindsides a counselor and says, no one ever brought this topic up, and we didn't have a chance to bring it up. So I want to make sure that we have that opportunity. There's also the opportunity, could do it earlier. I know Public Works Director has been interested in having some town halls. You know, maybe there's a town hall discussing snow plowing and when you can get out of your driveway. But if that was the case, maybe all the committees could have a tabling event at that town hall and have a couple of posters up of here are our issues, here's our opportunities, and get some community feedback, similar to what we did at the members weekend. Other thoughts could be that all the counselors are liaisons to these committees. There could be a coffee with a counselor and talk about these different topics. Some mornings during the winter when people are here. I don't know if this village has ever done like a state of the village town hall, but maybe the mayor wants to have a state of the village talk and you could have a town hall around that. So there's a couple different ideas that I might throw out to the city manager, the village manager to explore to get community feedback. We would then have another big community feedback when we have a draft of this plan in June. So we're hoping to have a draft, and then ideas that the comp plan would go to council for adoption probably in November, about a year from now. So that's what we're all kind of gearing for. So we okay with this process? Okay. So I think we could probably save that conversation, the existing conditions. Maybe the action item is that everyone goes back and reviews some of the previous documents, trailer documents. Shay, will need a lot of input from you on the recreation side, because I think we're still a little fuzzy on all the issues you were challenged with in running a recreation program in the village and the amenities. But start thinking about existing conditions, and next meeting will allot probably half the meeting to that process. We can use that wall as a sticky wall and put all our issues up on the wall and condense them. If that makes sense.
But
Okay,
we're not really getting into issues or problems.
First,
Just
we need to
identifying the existing
existing
conditions.
issues, right? And
So like for trails, and you're talking about the state of maintenance.
Right.
There's bad signage or
exactly.
inadequate signage or whatever.
And I think also we keep hearing on sometimes we're not sure who manages what section of
Right,
trail.
that needs to be.
So that's an issue,
Yeah.
right? So I think we can probably, as we're on this working together, I think we should probably, it's okay to bring in some of the resort issues into this process, just as so we're all knowledgeable how we're all working together.
I think suggestions are good,
Yep,
whether those actions take place or not,
that's okay.
It's totally fair.
Understanding the trail network in the village and that we have multiple
Yeah.
managers to it is fine, I think. And if we're all clear on that, is that we should address issues, operating challenges on the resort greenbelt system
Absolutely.
and the village belts trail system.
I mean, most people don't know the difference. as
That's
far as
exactly right.
Visitors, so
Yeah,
trail is a trail.
Identifying them would be good.
yeah. Okay. So I will, I'll run to Walmart and Taos and pick up a bunch of sticky notes and Sharpies for us to work through this exercise. Or the next couple of exercises, because it'll make it a whole lot easier to do that. We'll collect it all. And then we'll schedule the following meeting and start with the generate list of issues, challenges, and opportunities. So as you're going through, you're doing your homework, I think you can probably start pulling some of those out too. And, do it. If you can make a meeting, well, I think we could probably start maybe a Google form. Once we have the initial list, we can start a Google form and others can populate that. To have it, on issues and opportunities, challenges. Questions, thoughts? Make sense?
Does, sounds like that work.
Yeah. it might work. Okay.
I guess the legal issues too, as we find these sections of trails that need to be addressed. If somebody was to get injured on that section of trail that's actually documented, that could be a play in court down the road. That's a rare scenario on the green belts, but it is something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
And hence the need for good, maintenance and patrol and,
And identification.
yeah. Good stuff. Okay.
Makes sense. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's nice to actually see, stuff getting done, ideas, plans. All right. Without any objections, we can move on to item D, review the status of the Trails Plus grants and provide any further recommendations, input regarding the grant application for the Frank Young Extension Trail Project. Not sure who to turn this one over to.
Well, I can comment at least a little bit on it. You know, I talked to Manager Weir and he did say that it would be appropriate to be able to use some Trails and Recs funds to at least get the survey completed. So that we can provide that to the resort, and get that moving. That's kind of holding things up. But at least with that, it looks like we have enough funds to, go ahead and get started on that process without having to, put that into the Trails Plus grant, but I'm just gonna try to push to get that done as soon as we can, so that, because I guess, what are we looking at, December is our,
Was it December
I
1?
think it's December 30th.
December 30th. December 30th, yeah. And Jeff, did you ever talk to Carl again? Cause he surveyed. I'm pretty sure he surveyed it back in 2019 or something. He hasn't responded back to me.
he hasn't responded back to me either, but that is hopefully the expectation would be that it could be expedited because the work's been done. It's just a matter of getting that to Patrick.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
Gonna provide the plat maps with showing us easement, he's not gonna stake at this point.
I don't
we're not
think
gonna stake.
I don't think we need it staked,
No, no.
but I mean, I would just, if we can just get the paperwork in our hands.
I don't
But,
know if his schedule, he's pretty tied up from what I understand right now.
yeah,
That's also fair.
so,
I don't know if it's possible for him to get, depending on what the weather does, the snow.
Well, I mean, if they're recorded easements, it seems like he just has to pull the maps from,
he has,
county.
I would think he had, I got the plats from the county, but
They don't show that.
they don't show the easement. So I would think you're right, that's the way I vision it.
And then maybe they
is that
weren't.
He has the
there
surveys,
for it.
we can pay him just to,
Get a map. Draw it.
provide those to us.
So when he comes to survey, would he be targeting the resort and CS Ranch property, or would it be the whole stretch of the trail?
It would be the whole stretch of the trail, and that's where there will be some costs involved in going from, the power lines to the high school, or where we determine that. And then from where we veer off to the Allen Fields.
Right.
Yeah, timeline wise, get that done before December 31st, I have that put together and presented to the resort to buy on, that's pushing it.
It is.
Unless he's got nothing going on, but let's just assume that's not true.
Okay, so it's unrealistic, it's not realistic that, if the survey is delayed a little bit, it would, the resort have time to review and approve and go through their
Yeah,
procedures and legal stuff to do that.
yeah, just a quick update on my end, this is what I showed the resort, which is, at least an idea of what we worked on the last meeting right here. But he wants something more specific than this is. That doesn't mean he's not on board.
Sure.
Better.
He's the only surveyor that we have.
Well,
He's gonna be most of,
he-
well, he's already done work out there.
yeah,
He's the only surveyor, but he's the one that can do it like that when he has the time.
and it's right, yeah, I think he actually did the original easement for the sewer.
So wasn't there another survey company out recently on the North Angel Fire Road? Doing some survey where the double black flag by the fire station. I saw another survey company now.
Yeah, I don't know, I know Dennis Engineering, I think they do some of their own stuff when they're doing the roads and everything.
Was.
They have their guys out there doing.
The surveyor only goes from the existing to the fields. That's all he's done, but we didn't do the high school.
Doesn't even go to the fields either, you know,
Oh, doesn't?
it's the sewer easement that goes all the way to the sewer plant, but somewhere, you know, where that old sewer plant was, I think is where we'll be forking off of that.
Okay.
Mhm. So Shay, I think at the last meeting, we kind of toyed with the idea of trying to get an idea of if Dennis Engineering was able to do the construction engineering drawings, if they're already an on-call company and the costs are reasonable, to use village money for that part of the project and then pursue the Trails Plus grant for the actual construction. And move right into the bigger phase and go after the bigger money right away once we had the engineering drawings done. Is that a conversation you've had a chance to visit with Dennis Engineering or move any forward on that?
No, not in regard to the trail yet. The only issue with that is, to apply for that grant, you have to show that you have to have the match. And if I use the money that I had set aside for the match, I wouldn't have it in my budget until next go around.
For the engineering part of it?
Well, for the trail, if I use it for the engineering, the part that I had set aside, for the match, I wouldn't have it in my budget, at the time that we applied for the grant for the match. Does that make sense?
Not quite.
So so essentially, are you saying that we only have enough money for one or the other? Like we could either use the money to get the surveying done or we keep the money for the match, is that it?
Yeah, you have to show that you have the match when you apply for the grant. So that if I used it for the surveying and then we applied for the grant, I wouldn't have that match at that time.
Gotcha.
But I mean, there may be a way around it. I'll have to talk to the village manager and see if there's something that we could do to transfer funds or something like that. Because I do have money budgeted for the trail, and it would be good to get it started. Dennis Engineering is already working on the Allen Fields now. They're putting plans together, and that I think was approved. Was that approved last night, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, so I could reach out to Dennis Engineering for another task order for the trail and see how much that would cost.
It seems that if you've got some cold hard cash as a match, and then for the construction part, let me rephrase that. So, it's an over a mile of trail, so it's not gonna be cheap if it's built to those specs that we sort of threw out there as, going after the specs that make the trail last. It seems to me that a lot of your in-kind could come from Public Works actually doing the excavation work. The use of the equipment, the use of time and the labor, is a significant match towards the construction of that project. And then, pursuing youth corps funds to do some of the construction work. But this is that conversation that should be ongoing. That we're 45 days away from, should have a draft ready, and I don't think we're close to having a draft ready even by December 30th right now.
Right, I mean, if even the survey work can't get done by December 30th, then the grant application would not be feasible.
But maybe it's more feasible to look at that March, goal.
The next one, yeah.
But we have to, I guess, are we making a recommendation to the village on whether they should pursue Trails Plus grant just for the engineering design work, the first phase?
We've kind of already done that. I mean, as far as, going forward with at least getting the engineering done. Whether using the Trails Plus grant for that.
I've been trying to reach Carl because like I said, he had already, I mean, if we go with Dennis Engineering, and a different survey company, it's kind of just starting over because, Carl had done it back in the day. So that's why I was trying to get a hold of him, but I'm guessing he's just slam busy because usually he's pretty good about getting back to me, but, I guess I'll reach out to him again and just, and then we'll just have to move forward if he can't get to it. And I guess go with somebody else.
So what's worth a shot? Going after the grant for the,
I'm trying to go with Carl again, because it seems like it would be cost effective to be able to have him
Versus starting over.
versus starting over.
so best case scenario is Carl responds middle of November. We get stuff, and it shows, we also have to get out there, we need to scout the routes from the school to Allen Fields and kind of pin flag that, so he can actually walk that alignment to survey that, right? So that's a task that we have to probably complete in the next couple of weeks, is do a scouting recon on that alignment and have Jenna and school people go along with that. That needs to happen. So if that happens and we pin flag that out and Carl gets out there and does the work, and let's say that's November 15th. And we have, a survey showing the alignment. Would we get any kind of response back by the resort by the end of the year? Patrick, do you think?
I guess trying to make the deadline if we're trying to make the deadline, that's the only way I can see getting a response back, actually.
Okay,
As we enter Christmas, busy season for the resort.
right.
Not a priority for resort, probably for myself, as it being a resort though. So I'm not gonna answer yes or no to that, but all I can do is try.
Say it's possible,
Yeah.
possible, but not
I
probable.
mean, no, now's the best time right now, it's the best time for this, but we don't have surveying in line right now.
Okay.
But I do, each of the, so to say no, each of these meetings, I do update John.
Yeah, appreciate that.
So he's not left in the dark.
Okay,
Right, no big surprises coming from left field.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Well, I mean, yeah, from like, cause you're giving it, yeah, he doesn't feel like there's big surprises coming out of these meetings.
Yes.
okay, so let's take up steps on this, so. It sounds like November 15th, a month from now is like absolute deadline to get, something back from Carl. So I can go to the resort, so that seems to be a factor. In the next week or so, 10 days, we probably need to do a recon walk from the school out to Allen Field to look where the wet area is. Is Elliot already back points in Texas Oklahoma or Kansas, wherever Kansas? Is he gone already?
I don't know.
Okay, he seems to know that. We'll talk to Jenna. Does anyone want to try to coordinate a recon in the afternoon before it gets dark, early recon walk on that Moreno High School to Allen Field walk? Kind of like we did a few weeks back, a month back, we kind of walked Frank Young. We can do that for that second part. Anyone want to coordinate that, evening recon walk?
I don't know, too.
Yeah, I mean, I can, I mean,
Okay.
with, meet with Jenna and see if something in the next week would work for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or
Yeah,
pick your
Weather
dates.
coming in, so I don't know, depending on what weather happens, next week might be better.
Right.
Do
It
you
sounds like
want
it's
us-
supposed to get better, like start around Monday, Tuesday or so.
Yeah.
And those kids have probably made a path already,
Well, that's what, Elliot says.
so just follow that.
Well, and I mean, there's some, some challenges too, maybe as far as, if you got one easement going through that property, maybe best to follow that easement, unfortunately, because, you're tying up land with an easement, no matter, I mean, if you're establishing an easement, you're tying that land up, so we gotta always take that into consideration.
Absolutely.
To the extent that power line easement can be used to
Right,
connect to the high school.
yeah,
Um,
Cause we were gonna make like a triangle.
Right, right. Yeah, so that one part will have to be out of easement, but.
Mhm.
Okay, so Jeff, you'll work with Jenna and try to pick a couple of, couple of dates next week, a plan A and a plan B date in case something happens, maybe.
Yeah, and then I'll get with you and
I could send it out to everybody.
Yeah, Okay.
Huh?
Wear long pants this time.
Right. Only because of the weather.
Gators. Okay, so recon tour, next week after the weather clears up a bit. Jeff's gonna coordinate that, talk with Jenna, and then let us all know about that, and we can all, do that, and perhaps we should bring some pin flags along on that, so we gotta get a sense of where we're walking. And, either use a Venza or some other, app just to mark it.
I can get some flags too, some flagging,
I think,
those little orange flagging.
yeah, the pin flags, yeah, I think would work better than
I got
flagging.
plenty of those.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Okay, that's good. So that's one part of it. So then the narrative, Shay, on the, if we're still pursuing the same, going after the engineering stuff, the Trails Plus grant narrative, has there been any progress made on the narrative, getting it started?
Yeah, Rocky had told me that the only thing that he was, waiting for is the, letter from CS Ranch and then also, the resort. He said that those would be the two things that we need and then we could submit.
So he's already filled all the 43 questions?
Well, I believe so. That's what he told me is that all we would need before we could submit were those last two things.
Okay,
And is that submission for design and engineering, or is that for the whole thing?
Well, it was mainly for design and engineering, but if we change it, he'll have to go in and reword it. So I think that we could change it because like you said, there's gonna be a lot of in-kind, services. So I think that we could use the money that I have budgeted and we could still make it work based on that. So I'm gonna try to, pursue that and just try to reach out to Carl again and hopefully go that route. Otherwise I can, talk to Dennis Engineering. They're just not cheap.
so if we did pursue, the grant for construction and materials, I think we need to convene, or you need to convene Rocky Mountain Youth Corps as a partner, potentially the Public Works Department as a partner, and bring everyone into a conversation about what it would all cost to get that done if we're gonna go that route before, in this next couple of weeks as well, or the next month. And not say, hey, would you give me a support letter for this down the line, but convene the partners sooner than later to see if it's feasible or not. If we know that, I mean, we might know that Public Works Director doesn't have the staff to do this, even though it could be in kind, and if it's not practical for him to get it done next summer, then that's an unrealistic grant application if he can't be an in-kind match. So we kind of need to convene those partners, I think, to have that conversation.
And if Rocky's
Yeah.
here to talk about the grant as well, so.
So the Trails Plus grant, 43 questions on the Trails Plus grant. I kind of put together a rough guidelines and potential answers for that. So is that narrative for that grant been completed?
No,
Okay,
no, I'm kind of waiting for input and also the results from the engineering. I thought that's what the status was of that grant.
okay, so none of us are on the same page on what this grant's gonna do.
Strikes me that, we shouldn't go for construction at this point.
I think you're right.
It just doesn't seem like we have enough things lined at this point to be able to do anything but design and engineering.
Right, which I thought was the first phase,
Yeah,
was that going over that, going after that $100,000 to do the, cover the
I think you're right.
engineering.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it does sound.
Because that would be required to go to the next step.
Yeah, cause I thought that if Trails Plus grant money is a limited resource and the village has some recreation funds, could you use your village money to pay for the engineering and not use the grant for that, and to show the state, yes, we've already invested money in engineering and design, we're committed to this. Now we can go for the $500,000 grant. We've got this match from Public Works to do excavation work, and we've got this youth corps we're gonna have in the summertime to show whole lot more brownie points for doing that work than just going in blind and say, hey, we need $50,000 for engineering. So
Yeah, a lot of grants,
Well, yeah, the
a lot
other,
of grants are looking for shovel-ready projects, and that would maybe help in the shovel-ready status.
well, and that was the question was, if we don't even have approval to put the trail in, you know, from the entities, we're gonna be going through their properties, can we even apply for that?
no, we can't.
So that's, I mean, that's why we're having to do.
We're in this
first.
very horrible
Yeah,
feedback
exactly.
loop. It's, you know, it's the cart and the horse and chicken and egg, and
Exactly.
there's a lot of difficulties to get out of it, because I guess really what we need is, we need a survey to actually identify where it's gonna go, so Patrick can go and ask, and we can show CS Rand, so we can get the letters to even apply, so maybe,
well, and that has to
maybe I
be,
guess we still should pursue Carl.
yeah,
Cause it looks like without that, then we don't have the application for plan and design, so it looks like we're still gonna have to spend that money anyways, unless is that how everyone else sees it? That we're still, like Carl, like, we really need to spend some money on surveying to move this ball forward, otherwise we're gonna keep beating our heads against this table week in and week out, talking about, well, where are we going, what are we doing?
and for Dennis Engineering to do their design and engineering of the trail, they gotta know where it's going, so we have to know, we have to have the alignment.
Yeah,
I think-
So I guess the big action out of this is we really just need to get in touch with Carl some way, somehow to get that ball rolling. I don't think, outside of that, I don't really see what other action.
Question for the audience too.
If I may, if you guys have any of the options, nothing against Carl whatsoever. But I tried to use him for the skate park with the previous administration to try and map out where a skate park would be. It took me a year to get a response from him. And he was just so busy, it was, it never happened, which is why we don't have a skate park already. If you have any other contacts with any of the surveyors, I would reach out to everybody. Just to.
Yeah,
So I think I think that if y'all want, we can, maybe with me and Shay, y'all can give us a deadline with the progress with Carl. If we can't get with Carl
by
in a
X
week,
day.
we move to the next option
We
of
start
Dennis
this-
Engineering. If y'all wanna propose that, maybe.
No, I think that's rude. I mean, we can't, cause I know that Carl's busy, and then, like, sometimes he just like, he pops up where it's like, hey, I've got 2 days open to do your project, but I don't think we can sit around forever just waiting. The reason that we wanted, just kind of backstory, the reason that we were talking about Carl is that he helped do the sewer easement,
Right.
so he's already got some of that work done,
Got
but,
knowledge kind of thing.
but at the same time, you know, we can't wait forever.
How long you been trying so far?
3 weeks. 3 weeks. Well, it's been at least.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's been-
2 weeks since the last meeting, so. No, I get
It's
it.
like we need it by then, so we're gonna have to.
So maybe a couple, I don't know, maybe till next meeting. Does that seem like, or is that too long?
It's too long.
So a
Well,
week,
A week.
a week and
He's
then,
already got 3 weeks in it. I don't think he's gonna respond. in
yeah,
a week.
so.
The grant that we're gonna apply for needs to be done before the 1st of December.
So it's probably like, I don't know, the end of this week.
It's gotta be done by the 1st of December or?
We've got to submit it in, I mean, they are allowing multiple,
Oh, I thought it was the
December
30th.
30th is what we just heard from
It's the
Shay.
30th.
December 3rd, I'm sorry, December 3rd, I'm
That's
sorry, you're
it,
right.
this changes a lot.
Yeah.
But it has to
Sorry
be
about that, Shay.
approved, it has to be approved by city.
Speaking off the cuff here.
It's all good.
Yeah, it had to be approved by.
If not, our next one's in March, right?
Right.
If you-
But with every, that's just that much more money that's been doled out of the program as well,
Oh, right.
right? Cause they're continuing, they're awarding.
They only get so much from the governor every year as well, so
Yeah.
it runs out, it runs out.
Fair,
But
fair.
then there could be another.
There'll be another round next
Yeah.
July, 'cause it's a very successful grant program, it's doing a lot of good, there's a lot of good stories and good marketing on it, so it's gonna happen.
Okay, well, I can make some phone calls, to surveyors like out of the area. Cause we might have to start looking into like bringing someone from Las Vegas.
Well, I think like Shay's saying, Dennis Engineering is already doing the Allen Fields project. I mean, and they're gonna be, it seems like that could be continuity.
They're just expensive, is that what I heard, pricey?
I have no idea.
I mean, Dennis Engineering sounds pricey, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Any options, I think are worth it.
It's all relative.
Okay, all right, so are we in consensus that we're given, line of sight surveying another week to respond to the inquiries from the village and the council about, a survey, for the Frank Trail alignment, and if there's no response, then we would recommend that the village and council pursue another surveyor to get this alignment done or surveyed as soon as possible.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
So by the 23rd,
I would talk to Shield Surveying out of Raton, because they do come down to this areas and,
And I know them well.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
So,
Okay, so we're in consensus on that?
I think so. So otherwise we're gonna just keep spinning our wheels and getting nowhere.
And then we're consensus that the grant application we'll pursue is gonna be for engineering and design.
Correct,
The
Correct.
first phase of the Trails Plaza.
Correct.
$100,000 limit on that one.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And, I think you can start on the narrative, and I think we're happy to help you wordsmith the narrative.
Yeah, I'll need some from you subject matter experts.
Well, I gave, about 4 pages of comments on the questions already,
Okay,
back to Shay and maybe to you as well in the committee.
I believe I have it. I kind of just tucked it away.
Yeah.
Did we?
Well, I wouldn't tuck it away because it grants in 45 days, so I think we're already out of time to have that draft. So I think we start working on the narrative. I know you shared the link so we can log in to view the application. So we all have the ability, I think, to use.
I would just encourage not to do all the edits because it gets kind of confusing if everybody's editing. So
Right.
Let me do the editing, if
Mhm.
that's okay.
Is there?
And I'm pretty quick. Once I get the information,
Yeah,
I
that's
can get
fair.
it done in
Yeah.
hours or days versus.
Well, I think that's where we need to start. So, we are the subject matter experts and you're the writer for us. You can't write without the subject matter.
Right.
And so we can help you with that. I forget which format are they using?
It's online.
It's an online, it's one of the online grant application processes.
They're not very friendly. Some of
So
them.
we can go link that, and look at it and see, or if you wanna do a draft and share a Word draft to us, and then we can
do that.
potentially,
That'll point out
we can do track changes in a Word document, and you can work that that would work too.
that also works.
Okay,
What might help is for me to get as much as I can done for what I do know, based on the vision and what we're talking about here. And then, that'll identify the void spots.
Okay.
Some places where there needs more information.
we'll start with what I sent you,
Okay,
and send the committee. Maybe create a Word document.
Yeah.
Share with us that, and then we can do track changes on that, then you can,
and then before I put it on the online form.
yep,
Okay.
Sounds
is
good.
that good?
Yep. Seems like a
So what's the
reasonable way
deadline for you to
forward.
get us a draft to look at? Can you do that within 2 weeks?
Be really nice to look at that draft by next meeting,
When's your next meeting?
2 weeks from,
2 weeks from now?
is that
Well-
reasonable?
Well, next week I'm out all week, so
Okay.
there's 1 week that's gone. But the following week I have some time I can work on it. That's the,
And maybe we can make an action item for
We could
everybody on the
20.
committee to, I don't know, spend 15 minutes on that to help, you know, if we crowdsource 15 minutes from each of us, just picking and choosing certain questions.
Yep.
Maybe that's helpful.
Okay, so we're gonna, let's devote 15 minutes in the next meeting to, looking over the draft we've already seen, so we should see it electronically beforehand, so we can get a sense of,
Yeah.
start working on that a little bit. Excellent,
All right,
okay, so we're gonna do this because we want,
Thanks, sir.
we want to get the grant, you know, and move forward on this thing, so I think it's a community effort.
through the madness, a plan emerges.
Yeah.
All right,
Onward through the fall.
since, all right, I think that's a good way to wrap up that one. We can move on to, discussion and determination of the criteria for the location of the skate park, pump track, et cetera. Try to reach consensus for recommendations, et cetera, et cetera. Oliver came, sorry, I told you wrong. That's 100% on me.
It'll work out.
I was used to the Thursday format, so I apologize for that. Thanks for being.
We just gotta throw Matt off his game.
I'm never on my game, that's the problem. Yeah, I guess we can just open it up to whoever.
So real quick on that, I did meet it's pertains to this. If you would like to, I met with Cordova Consulting. They actually just finished a skate park facility and pump track at the Picarias Pueblo. And I actually know the vice president. And he said he would be interested in coming to the next meeting if you want to make that an agenda
Oh,
item.
that'd be great.
Maybe he can come and show us what they did. It's pretty sweet what they did over there. So maybe we can get familiar, because I don't think we really have anybody who actually installs skate parks and pump
Well,
tracks.
Oliver, do you have, when we were doing that, is there, you've been in discussion with contractors, right? That can, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch of contacts with people who build skate parks, but,
But not pump tracks. Well, the idea was just to bring him in, just let him show us what they have and are all about as well.
So Oliver, were you aware of this one in Pickers?
yeah, I've been
Have you seen it?
It is really good. I actually know the guy who built the concrete skate park. That's one of the contacts that I've got in Colorado. It's fantastic. Right here.
Well,
So part of this conversation, and I did send some links to Matt to think about, but part of the conversation is, I think there's two schools of thought on locating these amenities in the village. One is at Allen Fields. And the other maybe is somewhere in the Plaza del Sol / Liberty Square / whatever the name other people are gonna wanna use in this facility is. And so there's two schools of thought, and probably both have excellent criteria that could go to either place, but I think our job should be to make a recommendation based on some criteria. We decide that, you know, this has better accessibility, or it's closer to the fire station for safety, whatever those reasons are. We ought to make a recommendation, and it's gotta be based on some rationale, not because, oh, it looks better there, or it's dirty because there's a bathroom there. But what makes it work? And I think we should make a strong recommendation one way or another. So the first part for us is, you know, what are some criteria for where you want to locate a skate park? One is land availability. Do we own the land? Can we build there? But there's probably a number of other ones, including accessibility and activity in the area. So what works? And we can maybe have a conversation about moving towards what's the desired location. And I believe, Oliver, last time, you mentioned that you were seeing one big facility that would be suitable for BMX, pump track use and skateboards and scooters, right?
Yes, sir.
One large facility versus two separate independent.
I think that would be the smart way to go. I personally like the idea of having a field just for the amount of space. Because no matter what we do, we can expand, you know, even if we start small, or whatever the budget is initially, we've got space to grow. And we've got space for events, and we've got space to make some noise even. So I personally like that. We had a lot of discussion with the skate park subcommittee on this issue, and it was really 50-50 split with everybody between the Plaza del Sol and the Allen Fields. And there were advantages and challenges with both, I think. The Allen Fields is great for the space, great for the other facilities that are gonna be built there, like the bathrooms and the trails and the, you know, generally a center for youth activity, which is great, all in one place. On the plus side for the Plaza del Sol, it's very central, obviously, and kids can get there very easily from the condos and all that sort of stuff. But if we are having trails, I think that's slightly less of an issue, as long as there is accessibility down the fields. So, and being by the high school, I think is great as well. If we can run programs alongside in cooperation with the high school, then being right next to the high school is fantastic. So that would be my personal recommendation. The committee, as we discussed, it didn't really come to a solid conclusion. It was really 50-50. But just from my experience of running events and running skate parks, my personal recommendation would be Allen Fields.
Okay. All right, so I heard amount of space as a criteria. I heard comfort. And comfort, I would think, meant the bathrooms and other amenities nearby.
Facilities being built there.
Yeah, facilities, comfort.
I think being able to combine all those things. So if there is soccer games and there's baseball games and there's skate events, and we have, you know, facilities that can function for all of those things, then that we don't have to build, you know, 3 different facilities. That's obviously going to save money.
And then we had central location, accessibility.
Yeah. I think for me also, this is a slightly selfish thing, but I run the skate festival every year. The idea of doing Allen Fields is exciting to me because it's a space that you can really, you know, get a lot of people. Potentially not bother people at the condos if you're having a concert or a, you know, bigger event. So that's for me, the festival side of things is attractive.
And the infrastructure at Liberty Square, we don't know how. The infrastructure at Liberty Square, that would use, like the restrooms and stuff like that at Liberty Square, I mean, we would have that there, just like Allen Fields, but it's probably gonna happen quicker at Allen Fields than Liberty Square.
Right.
They have the support infrastructure. I mean, eventually it would be there, but.
Sorry, Tom, I didn't know.
No, it's, I mean, I guess Allen Fields is more ready.
That makes
Well, and
sense.
too, I mean, to me, we don't know what all is going to consume Liberty Square anyway, you know, as far as parking areas and, you know, event tents and all of that, it may be. Take up that.
There's more
most of that
unknowns.
Property.
There's more unknowns with Liberty Square
Yeah.
as that starts to materialize.
Mhm.
What was your name again, sir?
Lee.
Do you have any input?
Well, just by hearing Oliver talking on, and you guys talking about the infrastructure and me being ignorant to it all, in that sense, is that infrastructure going to be available to overlap and share at Allen Fields? Is that, I mean, who controls that part and who, because you put skate park there and they say you can't use the infrastructure.
Shay,
I don't know how that,
she can answer that as far as.
So the village owns that whole area, correct? That's my understanding.
Yes.
That whole area was donated by the Allens to the village, and so the village would put in the infrastructure. And then the skate park would be a village amenity. So I don't know I don't know why they would be precluded from using facilities.
I was just
Yeah,
curious.
no,
it's-
That's a huge cost otherwise, is what I'm
Charge the skateboard, we'll only charge the scooter kids.
Yeah.
Only the
Yeah.
scooter kids have to pay.
Are those, is that infrastructure out there being designed with the skate park in mind and the additional
Yes,
capacity?
it is. It is. With Dennis Engineering, we included, a whole bunch of things going for as much as we can to start, but yes, the skate park was, included in that.
Okay.
I made a decision first then.
So you're already further ahead. It's kind of been a master plan at Allen Field.
Yeah, I like the idea of having it centrally located just for the convenience. It kind of creates a cool energy for the town. But at the same time, I think that because we don't know what exactly the final plan of Liberty Square is gonna look like, how much space are we gonna have, it does seem like there's way more unknowns with the central location. I like the central location, but at the same time.
Well, so that's the thing, is we all like different things, but if we go by this rationally, then we should look at those criteria and say
Sure.
that it makes better sense
It
here.
does make better sense.
Yeah, so if I looked at 5 criteria of accessibility, I would say the central part is a whole lot easier for anyone to get to. There's no way to right now walk to Allen Fields. You can't even go along 434 to get there, even though they say they're building a new road, we don't know when that happens. And would there be a sidewalk that they can actually skate to the park from the Lowe's there? And then accessibility also means that the kids, and I watched Los Altos skate park for years in my neighborhood, and it's all about how close can you go get your Monster Energy drink, right? And it's a long way from Allen Field to go back to Rockies or to the Lowe's to get your Monster Energy drink or the Dollar General. So everything is right here in town to go get your quick energy fix or snack when you're out there in the skate park. At least that I saw in Albuquerque in that local scene. And then on visibility, the activity being this is how I see this, activity being in town, it does make the place more vibrant. And if there was an evening concert there or farmer's market or whatever they all want to move to Liberty Square, then the parents let the kids go scooter or skate while they're looking at Peruvian rugs and whatever in the farmer's market, because there's never any vegetables there. Or if for the music night, the music stuff, the kids can be right next to there in a recreational facility, and they're expanding energy, so it's meeting their health goals, and there's activity going on, they can watch them, so it's kind of, I can shadow a parent while the kids are in the skate park, which they probably wouldn't do at Allen Fields. So it's part of that vibrant, and then I think the visibility is there, and then also the safety thing, if the fire station's gonna be right here, and someone does get injured, then you've got that support a couple of seconds away versus
Couple minutes.
5 minutes away from that. So you start looking at the criteria and where it makes sense. My mind goes to the central part of town where it's a vibrant, makes it town come alive. And it doesn't look like the town is all of us that are in their seniors for the most part. Right? So it's not all golf course oriented, but we've got that life, new people, new energy in town. I kind of see that, but I can be swayed either way. But I think we've got to go through that criteria and make that decision based on some rationale.
I think the biggest thing I see that's right down the list right now is Allen Fields is, the work's already being done out there essentially to build a skate park. And everything that was just listed makes sense to go out there versus the unknown here, big question mark of when this construction, what's gonna happen actually. I'm in favor here, just like what you described there. I really enjoy seeing that vibrant, what you just described there.
Yeah.
But the reality of it actually happening in a timely manner.
That's the next question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it something that could be started on next spring versus something that's got that's gonna be another year of conversations and planning for Liberty Square?
Could there be 2 facilities? Could there be a major facility out there to start with and then a minor facility here?
You could be a ramp company, portable.
Like a little-
I wouldn't say portable, but not large.
Cause you've got portable ramps and stuff, yeah, that's, makes
I hate to
sense.
see portable stuff really anywhere, it just looks, more ski resort, it's a ski resort town.
And you brought up the Winter Park example last time too, what they've done, right?
Yes.
As,
I mean, I highly recommend people go check that out. Have you seen that Winter Park, Fraser Skate Park? It's amazing.
Yeah.
The music's playing, amphitheater, and it's packed.
yeah, so I see that vision as well, if this becomes, although I'm in favor of keeping Fuel Summer Nights where it is, and actually having a shuttle, park people over here and shuttle them over there instead of, if that parking is the biggest issue, so. But yeah, we ought to think through those factors, agree on what the criteria are, and make that decision, you know, and one of those is probably, criteria's gotta be, which way the train's moving right now, train's moving towards Allen Field, that's okay. So, train left the station that way, so,
Well, hopefully, there'll be a community center there. There'll be a skate park there, more fields, volleyball courts.
Are you talking about out to Allen Fields?
Yeah.
Not, okay, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
just a whole big development of things for kids to do and events to be held there as well,
Yeah.
at the same time.
What's the, it's like, don't let a perfect idea be the enemy of a good plan.
yeah.
One of those things, cause it would suck to, cause I know that time is of the essence and momentum is something that's really hard to regain after it's been lost. And so if it does seem like the train is going to Allen Fields. So I guess do we need to, what's the next steps in there? Do we? How's everyone else feel about Allen Fields versus Central? Cause I guess we are talking about something that's already in the works versus the hopes and dreams of what may come, but we don't know what that looks like yet. And how long does that take? Where are the unknowns with that?
How's this thing being designed and engineered and funded?
So-
Anything about it?
Oliver can speak a lot more on like the designing and engineering, cause he had done a lot of, I don't know if you were at that meeting. Yeah, so Oliver came and gave a great presentation on the kind of the meats and potatoes of that.
Okay.
You wanna give us a quick refresher?
Sure, on the sort of, I'm not sure which part of the plan, but, I guess as far as construction is concerned, I contacted a couple of different skate park companies. And I've worked for years with different skate park companies. I got a quote, I think it was about $300,000 for a fairly small skate park. But just as an example of something we can start with possibly. I'm not quite sure what.
And I think in that too, we were, if we're gonna do a skate park, we probably need to go ahead and include a pump track in that design.
Yeah, well, I think
There's no
that we'd
reason to
always.
do one without the other.
I think the conversation it was just like, so the pump track is, all we do is pretty much just submit or pay whatever the surfacing material is you just kind of do the whole thing. And so it's kind of just one big full flowy, conglomerate of
There's very much
features.
different ways to build skate parks. Obviously, you can make like a street plaza that mimics a town square. It's very much skateboard oriented, isn't particularly good for bikes. Or you can make a skate park that has a lot of flow and has pump track elements within the skate park. And you can have skate parks that are more or less just a pump track, but without the gaps that a pump track has. So when you go to a pump track, you'll see it has an asphalt trail.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the landscaping is basically useless for everybody, but it is the shape of the skate park. So something that people have been doing quite a lot recently is making skate parks that cover the entire land that a pump track would cover and can be used as a pump track, but isn't restricted in terms of having to be on one path.
I think it'd be good to see the different parks that have been installed, like Winter Park, Picarias, Pueblo, some of these different things that people are doing currently and look at those to see what our best fit would be. The different options. I think that's, we probably want to decide, what fits Angel Fire.
Yeah, I'll make a good point about that is that the pump tracks are the figure eights or the ovals, there's a lot of unused space in the middle that could be accommodated. So if those facilities which, have resolved the gold interference between a skateboarder and a scooter and a bike. We're not seeing mass casualties of those kind of features, and we definitely want to look at that kind of thing.
There's pretty good data on, injuries and that kind of stuff, and it's actually remarkably low. It's often a misconception about skateboarding and BMX and that kind of sports. There is really high injury rate, and it really isn't. It's actually a lot lower than football, baseball, most of the major sports, it's actually a much lower rate.
Nice.
And I'm sure that we can find some good data on the different types of skate parks versus contracts versus different types of skate parks, and we can, if that's something you'd like me to do, I can find more information on that as well.
I think that would help, help convince or enlighten us more on that sort of thing. I'd love to see though, and maybe the contractor that procures Pueblo and others, if we had some examples of these different combo type parks to show what's doable here.
Yeah.
And then this, your skate park subgroup, the other youth from the community engaged in that process as well? I mean, when you have your skate festival in the summer, is the topic of where it should be located coming up with the kids?
It didn't particularly, to be honest. Everybody's just busy enjoying
Having fun.
Okay.
There wasn't a whole lot of talking apart from that was amazing. You try this, you know.
Okay.
It wasn't really discussion forum, but that is something we could do at the festival if that would be useful. We're planning for the next one next summer if we wanted to have a booth and kind of get more input and, you know, that kind of thing. That's something we could do.
Yeah, so two things just happened here as we kind of came through a criteria, then we realized that the train left the station and we went right back to Allen Fields. Even though I think some of the criteria do lead us to think about a central location. So everyone, do we have a consensus on Allen Fields? Or do we want to think more about the criteria and justification for either location based on criteria? More thoughts on that? Love to hear from others.
My thoughts, I like the Allen Field and like bigger events and things, and I think older kids and maybe down the line, like you said, you know, once that gets developed, there could be a small park or something smaller for younger kids to get involved and have maybe the big events and
Okay.
maybe the Allen Fields would attract like older, and then have maybe something in town where you're talking about like parents being able to watch their kids a little bit more or whatever. That's kind of my thoughts. Cause I'm sure something will develop there, cause even where the park is now, that's all gonna change and be a water park and stuff like that. So it might be nice to have like a smaller like park along with something that kids can play around on scooters and skateboards later on.
I think that could be an amazing thing for Angel Fire. If you just have that reputation of there's this facility here, there's another one right here, there's the bike park here, there's so much going on, you know, that kind of feeling would be amazing.
I'm in favor with what was said there. It's the train's left the station, I think, is what came to conclusion here.
Okay.
So why kill that energy heading down that way?
Yep. Okay.
Unless there was a problem or issue. I'm a fan of Central, but why do we all the change? The train thing.
Okay.
We just need to get access to it out there now, because I mean, there's no trail to it, there's no road. There's a sign that says we're taking your trash, but nothing as far as Allen Fields.
There is
It's not
talks
really
about
promoted.
making more signage, definitely more signage on the highway, a more robust, sign at Allen Fields, lights, bathrooms, all of
They
that
talked
stuff.
about a concession stand.
Everybody had talked
That's all been
about Allen
approved.
Fields, it's like, where's that at?
Yeah, that's definitely in the works,
Needs to be
because,
marketed.
one of the ideas is that during balloon fiestas, that utilizing that area as overflow parking, it's a perfect place to watch the balloons. Test pilot was this year, as far as we had the kite festival there, and, we saw people pull in, go the wrong way, and not know where it was
Right,
at, so.
right.
So that's definitely
I
part of
don't even
what.
know there's a dog park down
Yeah, for real.
there. There is, there's no information out there for anybody to go to Allen Fields.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a in the
Yeah.
works as well. So-
I think if that trail, you know, the trail out there wasn't being talked about and there was nothing else going on out there, I think it'd be a different story, but because there is so much plan to develop that, I think. Yeah, it'll be no.
And then there's plans to have another road come in off of 434 directly in there, right?
Yeah, that's what,
There's an apron right now.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Just
well, when,
definitely
Manager Weir talked to us that day,
Mhm.
he talked about the road there.
Yeah. When they do that, that'll,
Lee,
Well, I think a lot of this accessibility stuff you gotta talk about kind of goes away. Once you put a skate park there or whatever, part of your advertising of building up this park or whatever, that's gonna identify where it's at. So I think that's gonna ultimately be a new point in the very early stages, to be honest. And as someone who grew up trying to figure out where I could buy some freestyle and all that, if something's there, we're going to find it and we're gonna bring it. But if we did find it and we brought whatever we needed to the park to, yeah, it may not be a convenience to go to Lowe's or whatever, but you know, coolers and all that always showed up anyway, so I think
Kids have
that
backpacks.
accessibility part is actually going to ultimately be a new part. I think the focus should be more on the infrastructure that you have to spend less money on to have a facility there. And I do like the aspect of the central having a, lack of a better term, kiddie pool area in the central area, but I also think if he's doing bigger events or someone like him putting on bigger events and it conflicts with whatever big events going on down here in central, and, you know, you have a big concert here and a concert here, you can't kind of, you know, you do separate those entities to have more than one event in Angel Fire going on at the same time, so maybe try to piggy off what infrastructure you're gonna have, because infrastructure is a big cost.
I'm still fuzzy on where we're getting $300,000 from the village.
Well, why not all have to come
Well-
from the village? There's lots of grant
Oh,
opportunities.
is there grants out there? for
Yeah,
that?
there's lots. I mean, there's the Tony Hawk Foundation or whatever they renamed it, but there's a lot of money out there for youth activities and that
So
type
we
of
gotta
stuff.
go through the grant writing process
Mhm.
for that, so.
but the fact that the match might be that the village has already donated land worth this much to this project, which is your in-kind match for a grant, so.
All the
That's a big
experience
plus.
I've had with advocating for skate parks, when you have land, getting the money to build a place is absolutely doable. Until you've got land, it's just pie in the sky and nobody's gonna listen to you. But if you've got the commitment of a city to say we have this space, there's a lot of places to try and start getting money from.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think one thing the comp plan could do at the end is there might be a gift catalog that comes out of it for village amenity projects. There are some benefactors around here that got grandkids who love skateboarding, whatever, and they're gonna wanna kick in something to. You think about the Walton grandkid, what's happened in Bentonville, that's all based on Walton's grandkid that wanted to mountain bike and what happened there. So we do some sort of gift catalog, we could fund music programs and really market it correctly. Okay, so I think the consensus on this group is that, is it a freight train or a passenger train? Is what? Narrow gauge.
What is the velocity and momentum of said train? Is that
O scale, HO. The train lift station, we are in consensus that the skate park would, best fit in Allen Fields. And, Jackie suggested that, Liberty Square could also feature a smaller pump track or skate park or some sort of feature that would be kind of a playground feature if there's events going on in Liberty
Sure.
Square. That I think is a good addition to that.
It's reasonable. Don't let a perfect idea be the enemy of a
That's right.
good plan.
Okay,
Excellent.
all right, we have time check of 5 minutes to wrap up their morning meeting.
Before you wrap up, I just wanted to give you an update. I did get all your list of comments from about the Trails Plus.
Okay, good.
There was 4 files though that I could not read, and I was gonna ask you to reformat them in a.
Were they the KMZ or KML files?
I think so.
There was a open up Google Earth, which is free on your computer, and then you can download those into Google Earth and you'll find the alignment that I created.
Is that what those are?
Yeah,
Okay. All 4 of them, Frank Young extension,
Yes, there was a 4
MDHS
piece
to
of that,
Allenfield.
yeah, so that's all Google Earth
Allen
files.
to pump station and FY extension.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's just a
Thank you.
rough, that was rough, my.
Didn't want to leave those for up.
Copy as a
That
PDF
was
also.
just the, 4 pieces I did based on working in Google Earth and
Okay,
putting lines on a map.
good deal.
That shapes now.
Shay?
Yeah, I think I sent them to you, PDF also, I believe. So maybe look through some of the emails I sent you.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Rocky,
Thanks.
appreciate you, sir. All right, so next meeting time, are we switching to Wednesdays at 9 now? Is that the new thing?
Well, I can't attend on Thursdays until after December 5th because of some manager training we have to do every Thursday morning.
Okay,
So that was
So-
why.
I'm out the second, fourth Thursday of every month.
all right, well, then I guess let's just next, 2 weeks, 2
We could do
Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
Listen, no, yeah, it's all the same to me, I live in a
Does that work for
perpetual
you,
Wednesday,
Patrick? or
so.
When
it's
do
all
you
the same.
start working snow?
I'll start November into November, so here shortly.
Okay,
I currently do have Wednesday, that's why I was late today. I have a double booked or 8 to 9 meeting. But it's not a big deal, I can still make it.
Yeah, and that would.
well, thanks for commenting.
Thought about going to the job site.
All right, so, next meeting agenda, we're gonna, look at, existing conditions.
We should come back with actually kind of an input of that, right? It's not,
Yes,
so, okay.
Do you want, the Cordova consultant to come in? Talk about what they do as far as pump tracks and stuff, maybe we can get them to bring us some.
Rocky, Oliver, do you wanna come back and listen to Cordova Consulting next time, if we put that on the agenda again?
Sure.
See what their latest. Try to get at least what they did at the Pueblo.
Okay.
And
So that would be a half hour that time, half hour existing conditions, or 20 minutes on that.
And that's,
Do we wanna do, Lauren Bell and ECTA, or hold off on that for, meeting after that?
Well, we probably also need to be, doing status on the Trails Plus grant, where we're at on the survey, et cetera. So then.
Yeah,
I mean, those
We
four
have
items
Lauren
right
come
there.
in.
Lauren can wait then, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I
I'll talk to
don't
him.
wanna,
those 4 items, yeah, that chews up pretty much our allotted
Yeah.
time right there.
Okay, and you'll be joining remotely next time around, right?
Sure.
Okay,
All right,
all right. Shay, so, when we meet next time, I guess it'd be, think about the existing conditions for the recreation program. If you wanna draft out something and share it in the group text, that's fine too. Do that next couple of weeks on your, your budget, staff, programming, promotion, all the different things that you are responsible for and, are working in the recreation realm.
Okay, yep.
I appreciate that.
okay, excellent, well, with, any last minute comments, concerns, questions? Speak now, forever hold your peace. I'll take the silence as none, we can call this meeting adjourned.
Adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Most excellent.
Stayed on track, stayed on time.